Good afternoon and welcome to Above the Fold. I'm the host of this edition, Christian Tabak, and I have here with me Katie Standlee, managing editor of the Vista. This week we're covering an interesting story from the Vista, changes to the language of the homecoming playbook. It's kind of a relevant topic now that homecoming is beginning this Sunday. Katie, why don't you kind of give us a rundown of what changes were made?
Sure. So recently the homecoming playbook was changed so that it would be more inclusive. In the past it had female organizations, male organizations, and co-ed organizations, but now instead of co-ed organizations there are mixed gender organizations.
Okay, it's an interesting change we've got going on here. So what's the primary difference between this co-ed and mixed gender organizations?
So co-ed organizations are male and female teams that are within it. In a mixed gender organization, this is basically people who do not identify in those binary terms of female and male. It is anyone who has a different gender identification or expression. It's more inclusive that way. The only requirement is that 2 females need to be in the organization and that it is diverse in gender identification.
Cool, that's definitely a change. So this is about inclusivity in language. What were the concerns originally raised by SAFE and Diversity Roundtable? And for maybe these viewers out there who aren't as familiar with these organizations, what is SAFE and what is the Diversity Roundtable?
So SAFE is the Student Alliance for Equality, and then DRT is the Diversity Roundtable. And these conversations were brought up back in 2016 with, at that time, the SAFE's president, Gabby Glidewell. And then the conversation was continued with last year's president for SAFE, Rachel Watson, and she brought in DRT's president, Jordan Broyles. And their main concerns was that the homecoming playbook language was not very inclusive, and it did not represent everyone in the student population very well. There were other concerns that they had as far as homecoming king and queen, but the only ones that were changed at this time were for dodgeball and the tug of war, and that would be where we added the mixed gender organizations.
Okay, yeah. So do you know at this time if DRT or SAFE have any intention of following up on their other concerns, or is that still to be determined?
I spoke with Dr. Macy, who is a SAFE faculty advisor, and he did not mention that they are going to continue those conversations at this time, but that might be something that they look into the future.
That would definitely be interesting, especially if this is inclusivity, how this conversation will continue. Well, that's all I had for today, Katie.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to add on the story?
No. I have several people in my story who said that this is a great change for UCO. It makes it more diverse in our homecoming and a better representation of what UCO is.
Yeah. Well, as you see homecoming play out over the next week, it'll be interesting to see these changes in effect. This has been Christian Tabak with Above the Fold and our guest, Katie Standlee. Be sure to check us out next time as we cover more issues in the Vista and on campus.